Oh, what a day it was, my dear readers. The sun was shining brightly over Niagara Falls. The water roared like a giant, hungry lion. It was a truly magnificent sight to behold. My name is Geronimo Stilton, and I have a whisker-twitching tale for you today. It's a story about bravery, teamwork, and a little bit of cheese. Our story begins with two very special agents. Their names were Tony Spears and Farzana Khan. They were not on vacation, oh no. They were on a very important mission, always ready to help those in need. They stood near the edge, their eyes scanning the crowds and the powerful misty water. What a job. Tony Spears was a clever mouse, agent. He was known for his amazing gadgets. He had a backpack full of ropes, hooks, and all sorts of gizmos. He could climb like a squirrel and swing like a monkey. Farzana Khan was his partner. She was as calm as a cool slice of cheddar. She was a nurse before becoming an agent, you see. Her kindness could soothe the most frightened heart. Together, they were a fabulous team like macaroni and cheese. They watched the tourists taking pictures. They saw families laughing and pointing at the beautiful rainbow in the mist. It seemed like a perfectly peaceful day. But trouble, my friends, can pop up when you least expect it. Suddenly a scream cut through the roar of the falls. My whiskers trembled just thinking about it. A young girl had slipped. She was dangling dangerously close to the edge of a rocky ledge. Her name was Violet Vallis, and she was only 13 years old. She had been trying to get a better photo of a pretty bluebird. Oh, what a fright. Her parents gasped in horror. The crowd froze, their happy faces turning to masks of fear. Violet was holding onto a small root, her knuckles white. The mist from the falls sprayed her face, making everything slippery and scary. It was a real cliffhanger, I tell you. Tony and Farzana did not hesitate for a single second. They were trained for moments just like this. While other mice, people, stood frozen, they sprang into action.
Don't worry, little one. We are coming to get you.
Tony shouted over the thundering water. His voice was strong and full of confidence. Farzana was already speaking calmly to Violet's parents, assuring them that everything would be all right. She had a way with words that could calm a storm. The scene was set for a daring rescue. My paws are sweating just writing about it. What would happen next? Would they be able to save poor Violet? Tony opened his special rescue backpack with a zip. Inside were all sorts of wonderful things. There was a bright red rope that was stronger than 100 mice pulling together. There was a special harness that looked like a spider's web. And there was a shiny grappling hook. Tony quickly put on the harness. He checked every buckle and strap. One must always be careful, especially when danger is near. He looked like a true hero, ready to face the roaring beast of the falls. He gave Farzana a quick nod. It was a silent message that said, "I'm ready, let's do this." It was time for some super agent action. He attached the strong red rope to a sturdy metal railing. He gave it a good tug to make sure it was secure. Safety first, always. Then, with the grace of a ballet dancer, he launched the grappling hook. It flew through the misty air and latched onto a solid rock near where Violet was clinging. Clank! It was a perfect shot. Tony was an expert, you see. He had practiced this move 1,000 times. Now he was ready to begin his descent. The crowd watched, holding their breath. It was more exciting than the finale of the World Cheese Rolling Championship. My heart was beating like a drum. Slowly and carefully, Tony began to lower himself down the cliffside. He moved with purpose, his feet finding little holds in the rock. The water sprayed him, but he did not falter. He was focused on one thing and one thing only, saving Violet. "Just hold on a little longer," he called out to her. "I'm almost there." His voice was a beacon of hope in the scary, noisy mist.
No spoken line in this scene.
Violet looked up, her eyes wide with fear, but also with a tiny spark of hope. Seeing Tony coming for her gave her the strength to hold on just a little bit tighter. What a brave agent, and what a brave little girl. Finally, Tony reached her. He was so gentle. He spoke to her in a soft, reassuring voice. "I've got you," he said. "We're going to get you back up to your family." He carefully secured a smaller harness around Violet. He made sure it was snug and safe. Then he attached her harness to his own. They were connected now, ready for the journey back up. He gave a signal to Farzana, who was waiting at the top. She and some helpful park rangers began to pull the rope slowly and steadily. Up, up, up they went, away from the roaring water and back to safety. Holy cheese, what a relief. They reached the top safely. The crowd burst into cheers. It was a moment of pure joy and relief. Violet's parents rushed forward and hugged their daughter tightly. There were tears, but they were happy tears. Oh, my heart melted like warm mozzarella. Violet was safe, but she was also very shaken. She was trembling like a leaf in the wind, and her face was pale. The scary experience had left her feeling cold and frightened. It is not every day that one dangles over the edge of Niagara Falls after all. She needed more than just a rope to feel better. She needed a different kind of rescue now. This is where Agent Farzana Khan's special skills shone brightly. She knelt beside Violet, her face full of warmth and compassion. She was a nurse, remember? She took out a soft, warm blanket from her own pack and wrapped it around Violet's shoulders.
You were so brave.
Farzana said softly, her voice like a gentle melody. She checked Violet for any scrapes or bruises. She had a small cut on her hand from holding onto the roots so tightly. Farzana cleaned it carefully with an antiseptic wipe and placed a colorful bandage on it. It was a small gesture, but it meant the world to Violet. Farzana didn't just tend to the little cut. She knew that the deepest wounds are sometimes the ones you cannot see. She sat with Violet and her family, speaking to them in a calm and soothing manner. She explained that it was okay to feel scared after something like that happened. She even told a little story about a time she was scared as a little mouse, girl, and how talking about it helped. She gave Violet a cup of warm cocoa that she magically produced from her pack. The warm drink chased away the cold and made Violet feel cozy and safe inside. Slowly but surely the color returned to Violet's cheeks. She even managed a small smile.
Thank you, you saved me.
Her parents couldn't thank the agents enough, they called them heroes. But Tony and Farzana just smiled. To them, it was all in a day's work. They were just happy to help. Seeing Violet safe and smiling with her family was the best reward they could ever ask for. It was a beautiful end to a very scary adventure. But for our agents, the day was not over yet. After the heart-pounding rescue, Tony and Farzana didn't have much time to rest. An urgent message buzzed on their special agent watches. Beep boop beep. It was from their headquarters. A new mission was waiting for them in the big city of Toronto. They said their goodbyes to Violet and her family, who waved until their car was just a tiny speck on the road. The agents hopped into their sleek cheese-yellow agent car. It was a very fast car, but also very quiet. Vroom. They were off, leaving the roar of the falls behind them and heading towards the towering skyscrapers of the city. The drive to Toronto was smooth and quick. Tony drove while Farzana looked over the details of their new case on a tablet. The city skyline grew bigger and bigger as they got closer. Towers of glass and steel reached for the clouds. It was a very different sight from the natural wonder of the falls. Toronto was a bustling city, full of busy streets, honking cars, and millions of people. Somewhere in this huge city, a new problem was brewing, a problem that needed a team of very special agents to solve. My whiskers twitched with anticipation. What could it be? They arrived at a secret meeting spot. It was a quiet office, hidden in a tall, ordinary-looking building. Inside, 4 other agents were waiting for them. There was Albert King, a master of disguise. There was David Jones, a computer whiz who could talk to machines. There was John Kibbett, an expert tracker who could follow a trail anywhere. And there was Josie Jackson, a brilliant strategist who was always 3 steps ahead of the bad guys. They were the best of the best. And there was one more person in the room, someone new. Her name was Elizabeth Ewing, a top agent from MI6 in Britain, sent to help.
Tony, Farzana, excellent work at the falls. But now we have a new challenge right here in Toronto.
He pointed to a large screen on the wall. On the screen were maps, charts, and photos. The mood in the room was serious. The fun and excitement of the rescue were over. Now, it was time for some serious detective work. The team gathered around the screen, their faces focused and ready. They were a powerful team, a symphony of skills ready to play the music of justice.
All right, everyone. Our mission is to help the Canadian authorities. We need to stop a very nasty group of criminals. This group calls themselves the Avengers, but they are not heroes. They are villains. They are masters of trickery and deceit, and their actions are causing a lot of heartache. They are not avenging anything good, I can assure you of that. They're actually involved in a big money laundering scheme. That's just a fancy way of saying they're taking bad money from bad deeds and making it look like good, clean money. But the way they do it is especially cruel. They're targeting elderly Canadian citizens. These sweet grandmas and grandpas are being tricked into helping the criminals without even knowing it. The Avengers would call them and pretend to be from a bank or the government or even a charity. They had smooth voices and told convincing stories. They were very, very sneaky.
They're using clever phone scams. They tell the elderly person that their account has a problem or that they've won a prize. Then they convince them to move money from one account to another. But the new account is controlled by the Avengers.
The poor, unsuspecting seniors thought they were helping or fixing a problem. Instead, their money and sometimes even their life savings was being used by these crooks to hide their dirty business. Oh, it made my fur stand on end. How could anyone be so mean? The team looked at the faces of the victims on the screen. They were kind-looking people who had worked hard their whole lives. Now they were caught in a web of lies.
This is more than just about money. These people are scared and confused. They feel ashamed. We have to stop this, not just for the money, but for them.
Everyone in the room nodded in agreement. The mission was clear. They had to outsmart the Avengers, protect the elderly, and bring the criminals to justice. It was a big job, but they were the right team to do it.
Now, How do you catch a group of sneaky scammers? You have to be even sneakier. We can't just go knocking on doors. These Avengers are like ghosts. They use burner phones and fake names. We need to set a trap. A big, juicy, cheesy trap that they won't be able to resist.
Everyone leaned in closer, their ears practically twitching to hear Josie's clever idea. A plan was starting to form. Josie's plan was fantastic. It had many parts like a delicious lasagna.
First, I'll create a fake online profile. It'll be for a very wealthy, retired cheese magnate who just moved to Toronto. We'll call him Mr. Monterey Jack. I can make this profile look so real that even I would believe it.
What a clever mouse, agent. The next part of the plan involved Albert King, the master of disguise. He would actually become Mr. Monterey Jack. Albert was an amazing actor. He could change his voice, his walk, and his whole personality. He would dress in fancy suits, wear a fake bushy white mustache, and talk loudly about his love for expensive Stilton cheese. He would go to fancy cafes and places where wealthy people gathered. His job was to be the bait. He had to make the Avengers believe he was a perfect target. Rich, a little lonely, and maybe not so good with new technology.
Sounds like it's my time to shine. I'll be the bait and I'll make sure they think I'm exactly what they're looking for.
The rest of the team would be the support crew. Tony and John would be the surveillance team, following Mr. Jack from a distance, using tiny cameras and listening devices to watch for anyone who tried to contact him. Farzana and Elizabeth would set up a special monitored phone line for Mr. Jack. When the Avengers called, and Josie was sure they would, Farzana would be there to offer advice, and Elizabeth would use her MI6 skills to trace the call. Every agent had a role to play. It was a perfect plan, a masterpiece of teamwork. Now, they just had to put it into motion. The team named their plan Operation Golden Maple Leaf. It was a perfect name for a mission in Canada, don't you think? The very next day, the operation began.
Gouda is good, but Gruyere is glorious.
Albert King transformed into Mr. Monterey Jack. He wore a tweed suit, shiny shoes, and a very convincing mustache. He practiced his new voice, a booming baritone that loved to talk about cheese. He went to a fancy cafe in a wealthy neighborhood and ordered the most expensive slice of cheesecake. He made sure to talk loudly on his phone about his vast fortune.
He's doing great. He's so convincing. I'm starting to get hungry for some cheddar myself.
Meanwhile, Tony and John were set up in a van across the street. The van looked like a regular flower delivery van, but inside it was a high-tech command center. It was filled with screens, keyboards, and all sorts of listening gear. They watched Mr. Jack through a powerful camera disguised as a sunflower on the dashboard. They could hear everything he said through a tiny microphone hidden in his tie pin. They watched every person who came near him looking for anything suspicious.
The fake online profile is live. It's got everything. Photos of Mr. Jack on a yacht, standing next to a mountain of cheese wheels, and posts about wanting to invest his money in new exciting projects.
David made sure the profile was visible to the kinds of shady characters the Avengers might associate with. He planted digital breadcrumbs that he hoped the criminal mice would follow. It was a digital cheese trap.
We're ready by the special phone line. The number's listed on Mr. Jack's online profile. The Avengers like to work fast, so we should be hearing from them soon.
I've got my MI6 tracing software ready. The moment the phone rings, I'll start pinpointing the caller's location.
Farzana was prepared to guide Albert through the conversation, feeding him lines through a tiny earpiece to make sure he said all the right things to keep the scammers on the hook. The trap was set. All they had to do now was wait. After 2 days it happened. The special phone rang. Chirp, chirp, chirp.
We have contact.
On the screen, her tracing software immediately started working, trying to find the source of the call.
Okay, Albert, it's showtime. Remember the plan. Be friendly, be a little confused, but be very, very rich.
Monterey Jack speaking. To whom do I have the pleasure?
The voice on the other end was smooth as silk. The man introduced himself as Mr. Smith from a company called Future Investments. It was one of the fake company names the Avengers used. He told Mr. Jack about a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to double his money. It was the classic scam.
That's them. The script is exactly what the other victims reported.
They scanned the area around the cafe, but the caller was smart. He wasn't anywhere nearby. The call was being bounced all over the city, but David and Elizabeth were smarter. While the scammer talked, David was fighting a digital battle, breaking through the layers of protection the caller was using.
They're using a relay box in an office building downtown. I'm getting close. I need him to stay on the line for 30 more seconds.
Keep him talking, Albert. Ask about the cheese selection at the company parties.
Oh, I simply must ask. Do your company parties feature any rare Swiss cheese? I do adore a good Emmental story.
It worked! The scammer, trying to be patient with the rich old man, stayed on the line just long enough. Got them! An address flashed on the main screen. It was a small rented office on the 23rd floor of a downtown tower.
Go time! The location is confirmed.
Teams of police officers moved in, ready to catch the Avengers red-handed. The trap had not only been set, but it had been sprung perfectly. My whiskers were quivering with excitement. The police raid was a complete success. They burst into the office and found not just one scammer, but the entire leadership of the Avengers. They were sitting around a table, surrounded by phones and computers, busy trying to trick other innocent people. They were so surprised they didn't even have time to hang up the phone on Mr. Monterey Jack. The criminals were arrested, and all their equipment was seized. David Jones later used the information from their computers to uncover their entire network, and help the authorities return some of the stolen money to the victims. Back at the secret headquarters, there were cheers and happy high fives. Operation Golden Maple Leaf was a resounding success.
I don't think I can look at another slice of cheesecake for a week.
The team was tired, but they were incredibly proud. They had come together, each using their unique talents to stop a terrible crime. From Tony's bravery at the falls to Josie's brilliant planning, from David's computer magic to Farzana's compassionate heart, every single agent had played a crucial part. This story, my dear readers, is more than just a tale of spies and gadgets. It is a story about the power of working together. When people combine their skills and support one another, they can solve even the trickiest problems. The agents couldn't have succeeded alone. Tony needed Farzana's calm head. Albert needed David's tech skills. The whole team needed Josie's plan.
We were like different kinds of cheese on a platter, each one good on its own, but absolutely magnificent when brought together.
It shows that teamwork truly does make the dream work. And so, our story comes to a close. The agents of our story showed us that the greatest adventures are not just about daring rescues or catching bad guys, they are about helping people. They are about protecting those who are vulnerable and making the world a little bit safer and kinder. Whether it's saving a young girl from a waterfall or protecting a grandparent from a phone scam, an act of kindness, big or small, is what makes a true hero. And that, my friends, is a lesson worth more than all the cheddar in Switzerland. What a truly fabulous tale.